What's up, Gillette Wild Funds? Hey, howdy, how are you? Welcome to this week's episode of the Drop the Gloves podcast. We've made some changes this week. The feedback was good. I appreciate it. There were kind words spoken in person, and there were kind words spoken in messages on social media. I appreciate everyone that took the time to check out the episode last week. Commissioner Frankenfeld, Coach Hayes, the interviews were awesome, other than the butchered part of Coach Hayes' interviews, which we've changed up how we're going to record the episode moving forward. I was low energy. So the interviews were taped. Commissioner Frankenfeld was done on Zoom. We taped Coach Hayes there at Spirit Hall Ice Arena. We had a bunch of fancy stuff that I tried to make work, and it wasn't something that was going to work. So what we did was we found somewhere that we can go and we can set up and we can do these interviews, and it's a little different energy. So I'm going to be better. The episodes are going to be better. We just finished taping the 2 guests that you're going to see tonight. So it's a good night. So we will start off. The first thing that you are going to see is the Wilds weekend that was. We're going to look back on the boys opened the season at home at Spirit Hall. They got a win over the Badlands Sabres. They turn around Saturday. They drive to Rapid City, pick up another win over the Sabres. They were a part of opening a franchise's home opener, the Roosevelt. I'm going to call it the Roosevelt Center. I don't know the name. I'm sorry. But the Roosevelt Center has hosted hockey before, but this was the first time the guys got to be a part of a franchise opening an arena. So we cannot do this without the help of a couple people. First of all, Underdog Nutrition. So here's what you need to do, okay? You need to get your smartphone, you need to get your computer, you need to go to Facebook, you need to find Underdog Nutrition, you need to like your page, because what they are going to do is they're going to help you meet your fitness goals. Now, not my fitness goals. I know it's hard to tell by looking at me, but you might be shocked to know, not a big supplement guy, okay? But they are. My family uses them, okay? Wife, kids, great shape. Workout, we use Underdog Nutrition. By we, I mean them, not me. I go a little different avenue for my nutrients, which brings me to where we are right now. After looking back on the episode last week, I realized something had to change. It was low energy. It just wasn't if we're gonna have the guests and everybody take the time to do interviews with us and spend some time with us, I have to be better. So I came down. I was looking for somewhere to go. It was actually last Thursday. I needed somewhere to just have a beer, get my mind right, figure out what to do moving forward. Couple of the sponsors are where I wanted to go to. First was Old Chicago Pizza and Tap Room, official after party host of your Gillette Wild. I already spent a fortune there. So Fridays and Saturday nights after the Wild win, that's where we end up. We were there on Friday on the patio with the fire going. It was awesome. I decided to come down and check out a place I had never been to before, and that was Big Lost Meadery. And in doing so, I stumbled across this room that we are in now. And I am telling you, if you need somewhere to come have an adult beverage, whether it be the mead that they make, that is phenomenal. It's a little higher octane than the beer. You got to be careful with the mead. But it's a very laid-back atmosphere. The atmosphere that you can find here is not like anywhere. And this is not taken away of any of the sports bars or anything in town. There's no TVs here. There's good music, and it's set low. It's a place where you and your friends can come and visit. The Ranch and Roost, I believe it's called. I can see it right here. You can grab food from any of the restaurants around downtown. We are 1 block west of the downtown strip here, downtown Gillette. So when I came down last week, I had a couple beers. I visited with the young lady working at the bar. She gave me Bob's card. I called Bob. I said, hey, this is what we're doing. You guys already support the Wild. Is there any way that we could come in and shoot a couple interviews or something weekly with the boys? He said, absolutely, and this is where we ended up. So I got to come up with a name. Very heavy firefighter vibe in here. This room is awesome. Like, I would drink beers in this room. So it's awesome. So this is going to be the new home for the Drop the Gloves podcast. Now, what we've got tonight, 2 guests. Nate Fanning, veteran of the Gillette Wild. Dale Rodriguez, veteran of the NA3HL. Rookie, I can say that now that he's left. He don't like the rookie. Rookie of the Gillette Wild. They were both gracious enough to come out and take some time. So we're going to have an interview with each one of those guys. But before we do, let's take a look back at the weekend that was for your Gillette Wild.
Now he's looking, gets it up ahead. Sanborn comes in all alone, racing back, fakes, dekes. Oh, good save there by Curie, and trying to recenter it. Sanborn's leaving it right in front. Sanborn fires it back in, and we got a goal. Not sure whether Tristan Baker might have got a piece of that one right there, but the Wild get the first goal of the season. This line produced for them all last year, and they're doing it again tonight. Brad Fanning stands him up. Brown was maybe looking for a little kneeing call, I think, but Wild with it now. Norwegian trying to get by everybody. Look, send it across. Oh, got a goal. That was Sejan Norwegian. I think he was trying to backhand it across, but it got deflected. Connect with Lean. Back up high to Trebojevic. We've got a minute and 10 seconds left here on this power play opportunity. Trebojevic with it. Fires one. Goal. That's a power play goal. Just walked in, and it was a hard shot right there, and put that one home. So Trebojevic going to bring it up now. Trebojevic gets it to Hodney. Hodney centers it to Delabove. Delabove gets a goal. Bounced off the goaltender and went 5-hole. So Delabove's going to get a goal from assist from Hodney on that. 33.6 seconds left to go here in this first period. The Wild tack on another one. Fanning is going to get popped in the face right there. So Norwegian with it. Got Apodaca coming. Norwegian sends across. Apodaca with a goal. That was a nice pass and a nice little tap-in finish on a delayed penalty. Wild able to extend their lead back to 4 goals. 5. Puck sent up the wall, kept in by Rodriguez. Delabove with it, gets it right in front. Hodney, goal! Caleb Hodney with his first goal. He's working on a 2-point night. That's pretty cool right there. So that was a nice feed in front, and he was parked in the slot, got it on his stick, and fired it home. Trying to get it to Lean. Lean with it now. Getting some pressure over there from Charlie Olson. Up high to Slinger, and then Blake with it. Blake going to fire one in. He got one. Fired that first one, bounced it off the goaltender, but bounced back out to him, and he was able to fire it. So Will Blake getting his first goal of the season, first goal of the night here. Sabres with it now. Fishback brings it down, but had some speed, but Rodriguez is going over to give somebody a little brawl going on. Geez, just when I said we haven't had a good fight in 3 years, we're going to get after it here. So, 10:07 to go, and they're still going at it maybe. Gets the crowd fired up here on this opening night. Cooler heads are prevailing now, so Dale Rodriguez getting shown the door, and looks like, number 7. He's got He got a little bloody nose or something out of that deal. He's got blood on his visors. Number 7, Hunter Fishback's heading out. So Fishback from St. Paul, Minnesota. Dale Rodriguez from St. Paul, Minnesota. So they have a known history, and that will be the way it ends. But Wild get a convincing 7-1 victory here to start the season. With Wild coming out to tap and salute to the fans as they do. So after games, so good opening night here for the Wild. We'll see if they give us the 3 stars. Third stars, number 35, Jake Turek. He doesn't realize he's supposed to make a complete lap, but he stopped 19 of the 20 shots he faced, so good job to him. Leighton Weisler with 3 points tonight, defenseman. 3 assists tonight, so let's see if our first star. Number 59, that would be Sejan Norwegian, game-winning goal and an assist. So
Saturday afternoon, the boys made the 2-hour trip east to Rapid City and wasted no time jumping out front. 90 seconds into the first, Alice Dushman and Brock Travojevic worked the puck towards the Sabres net. Zach Yurkinen lets the puck slip behind his right leg, stick between his legs, and flicks the puck past Badlands goalie Maxim Curie. Wild out front early. Now we're early in the second period. Tucker Lean will make a little backhand drop pass to Zach Slinger, who fires on net. Curie's kick save finds Saja Norwegian stick waiting, and Saja sticks the puck in the back of the net. The Wild lead 2-0. 3 minutes later, the Wild win the power play faceoff in the Badlands zone. Will Blake will work the puck behind the Sabres goal, feeding Tucker Lean, whose shot is blocked and just trickles out front of the net, where Norwegian, the Bowers NA 3HL Frontier Division Star of the Week, backhands it past Curie, putting Gillette in front 3-1. We're now in the third, and the Wild once again on a power play. Nathan Fanning will take a pass from Declan Young. Fanning moved towards the goal. Center punches the post. The rebound finds Tristan Baker waiting to rip a wrister over Curie's right shoulder, putting the Wild up 4-1. 2 minutes later, Leighton Weisler takes a pass from Blake and carries the puck into the Sabres zone. His backhand shot is kicked away by Curie into the waiting arms of Lean, who buried the rebound, sealing the deal on a 5-1 win for the Wild, completing the weekend sweep of Badlands. All right, we're back. We welcome on from Sioux Falls, South Dakota, Nate Fanning. Nate, thanks for taking some time to join us.
Yep.
So, first things first, let's talk about this weekend. How much more fun was this weekend, Friday night, the home opener, versus a year ago in that home opener?
I think it was awesome, and it's really cool because you get to see kind of, what we've got as a team, what we're working with, and what we can improve on and everything. And it's just comparing that to last year. I think we've got a long ways to go, but we can do a lot better than last year.
What was the atmosphere, like the difference in the atmosphere when you're playing? I don't remember the number last year for your first game. It was either 50 or 100 versus there were almost 500 people there Friday night. Is that something that, do you guys feel the difference there?
A lot, yeah. I mean, having a good atmosphere, especially from the fans and the crowd, it really has a good, it's good motivation for the team. And with less people there, we had to try to build our motivation on our own last year. And I mean, you can make it fair ways, but it definitely helps when you got a crowd, screaming out your name and cheering you on. So
Now there was so you guys were here Friday. You went to Rapid on Saturday. There were I have her down here somewhere. 488 here and 489 in Rapid for the attendance, which we got to work on. Rapid can't beat us in the attendance, so we're going to talk about that later. But with the way it's set up, I wanted to ask. I've never skated, I've never played hockey in my life, but the way Spirit Hall is set up, where you have the people above you,
Yep.
versus like when you're in Rapid and the people are behind the glass, is there a difference in like the energy and the noise level on the ice, or does that not make much of a difference?
Noise level, I think we can definitely hear the crowd better when they're up above, and it's definitely new because you come play there and everybody, it's always on the glass, and so having them, looking over, being able to see the play from above and you can hear them over the glass is awesome. But I mean, you can't necessarily beat on the glass and whatnot, but it's definitely cool being able to hear everybody up above because it goes straight out over onto the ice.
And that's what Ethan talked about, that even when he was on the road and he was coming down from Great Falls, that he liked the setup at Spirit Hall.
Mm-hmm.
Where is this the only place you've played that was like that, where it's had the crowd up top like that?
Yeah, for the most part, because I mean there are other places. I think Blaine, Minnesota, or something. They've got something similar, but it's not exactly quite like what we have, where the crowd's just everybody's above you, and even the smallest voice can carry because it's a big building. So, yeah.
Now, we were talking earlier before we got started that you opened. You didn't open the Roosevelt. It's been there for a while, and that's where their youth hockey program and stuff goes. But it was the first home game for a new franchise in the Frontier Division. What was that night like? Like, was it cool to go somewhere and see that many people coming out for the first game, and just kind of what was Saturday night like?
It was awesome. I mean, it definitely helped though because we had a lot of people come from Gillette, and so just having our own fans be able to come out to the game because it's not 8-10 hours away. It's definitely awesome having your own crowd at an away game backing you up. But it's cool also because it's a new team, new franchise. Just how they do things is kind of cool because every team does something different. So
how is it different from getting on the bus, driving over, playing your game, and coming home, versus the 8 and 10 hour trips when you guys go play in Montana? Do you like the home and home series weekends better, or do you like taking the bus trip, doing 2, and then coming home? Like, which do you prefer?
I mean, they both have their pros and cons because when we're on away games, it's the 8-hour drive out there. You get a couple hours to settle in and a couple hours to get ready for the game. And then you play that game, you stay in a hotel, you play the next game the next day, and as soon as that game's over, you're driving back. So you get back at 3, 4 in the morning. But this case, we get back at night, we can get good, basically full night's rest and still have all of Sunday to go, that we're not, falling asleep at 3 in the morning and waking up in the afternoon. So, but bus rides are long, but there's a lot of fun stuff you can do on the bus ride if you get creative. So
now you talk about when you guys go on the road. It's the same thing with our daughters. When we go, we'll usually do a Saturday night and a Sunday morning game. You guys go and do a Friday night game, and then you have a Saturday night game. So, which I'm hoping we can get you guys to document this a little bit in the future. But let's say when you go to Great Falls, okay? So you drive up there, you play Friday night, you get up Saturday morning. You have a normal checkout time at the hotel?
Yeah, normally it's anywhere from 11 to 12. We try to get it so that we can use one of the rooms so we can do film right around 1, so that we still have like an hour of film, and then we got, you eat anywhere from noon to 2 o'clock, and then it's something light about an hour or 2 before the game, but that way you still got plenty of time to do everything you need to do to prepare.
That was my question, is when you guys check from the time you have to, even if you ask for a late checkout, what do you guys do before you have to be at the arena at 5 o'clock? So there's stuff that's built in that you guys have to do when you're doing it.
Yep.
Okay, so let's go back to like Little Nate Fanning. When you got started, what is your earliest memory of hockey?
Honestly, that's kind of a hard question because it was a long time ago. I think the thing I hear now is when I was a little kid, I was ornery and scrappy, and I was kind of a pain to deal with on the ice. So my parents would always joke that I was always found at the bottom of the dog pile because I was always the one taking.
So
it
you
down.
started it a lot of
So
times.
I started it a
Okay.
lot when I was little, and I think that's probably what carries the most. Is just that's what I constantly hear from the family, and so yeah.
Now, kind of talk about your progression to moving to juniors. So, in Sioux Falls, I always say Sioux City, I mess it up, but in Sioux Falls, so you started, did you do the whole mites, squirts, peewees, like the whole shebang there?
Yep. So I actually started in Brookings.
Gotcha, okay.
Because my parents were in college at the time, and so I started in Brookings, played there a couple of years, and then we lived in Arlington at the time when I played in Brookings, and then when we moved to, there's actually a town called T, South Dakota,
Okay.
and that's where I lived. That's a 20-30 mile run to the rink, and so that's where I ended up playing, was in Sioux Falls, and I played there all the way through high school. So
Okay, when did you make the decision or know that the junior stuff was something you wanted to pursue?
I always wanted to pursue college, and my old coach, who actually was the same coach Ethan Becker had, told me that one of the best ways to get to a good college and to build up your reputation and your skill level was to go through juniors. And he knew the last coach that we had, and so he actually sent out my name, and they came, and Shaw came and watched at state, and they picked me up there, and I've been here since.
That was my other question, was then how did you end up here in Gillette? So it was Taylor that
Yep.
came and found you, because Taylor's been, oh man, I know he was with Kruk,
Yep.
and I think he was even here before that, wasn't he? Was Taylor here through 3 coaches?
I'm not
just with
positive.
Kruk? Okay.
It could have been with just Kruk, but I know that Taylor, I'm pretty sure he's the one that came out and watched the game we had our state in Pierre at
Okay.
that moment. And then we had my coach, Tyler Morgan was his name at the
Okay.
time. He was the one that sent out my name, and he sent out Ethan Becker over here. And so, yeah, that's how I ended up getting out here, is just contacts with coaches. So.
When you talk about your coaches in the past, is there one maybe that stands out more than the others that kind of had the most influence on your game to now?
Morgan for sure, because we always had decent coaches, but they weren't great. In my sophomore year, our coaches got fired, and we got a new coach, and he came in from Wyndham, and he completely changed our team. He changed our reputation. Sioux Falls did not have a good reputation in the state, and he changed our reputation. He got us a lot more preseason games in Minnesota and in Iowa and Nebraska, and so we played a lot more games and a lot more tournaments. So it definitely helps change Sioux Falls' reputation at the time. So
Does that help a lot when you go? And I imagine when you roll in, South Dakota has a good reputation, but when you roll in from South Dakota and go into Minnesota, that level of hockey goes up.
Mhm.
I assume even at the Bantams and midget levels.
yep, it's funky because you can definitely tell there's a difference in coaching between Minnesota and South Dakota, especially at the younger ages. Because as it gets older, it closes the gap, but there's still such a level of coaching and different styles of play and compete that it's just a completely different lifestyle when it comes down to
Okay, so now there's one question I have about the defensemen this weekend. You guys scored points.
Mhm.
I know you would talk on the wildticks.com. You can go to wildticks.com and read bios on all the guys. And so you're playing defense right now.
Yep.
So do you pay attention, or is there some camaraderie between the other defensemen? Like when a defenseman gets a point or scores a goal, do all the defensemen, do you recognize that?
Honestly, I think we just recognize when anyone scores a goal, because it's definitely a big motivation booster in general, and so it definitely helps just getting points on the board, and it helps the team obviously get the 2 points for the end of the weekend.
What has changed with the Wild organization now, and this is your 3rd season? What have you seen kind of grow and change in the team the last 3 years?
Coaching for sure. That's been, a lot of changes. A lot of them been for the better. So coaching's been a blessing with Hayes now, and he's done a great job taking over. And I know Shaw has moved up in a level, and we're gonna miss him. But coaching's been a big play in it. And then I think just overall, from my first year to now, the camaraderie that the team has in general has improved a lot. So, yep.
You like the trajectory the team's on.
I love the trajectory.
And I can feel it. I told Ethan that last week. It was probably the 5th or 6th home game last year. Sitting, I think I get the best seat in the house, sitting right there at the announcer's table and watching. It something changed. Like the feeling on the ice changed, on the competitiveness, the speed, the tape to tape. Like the hockey just seemed to get better. And I'm sure all the guys that we run through are going to the same thing. We're not, kissing Ethan's ass. You guys are. I have no reason to. But it feels like he's really good at what he does.
Yeah, he's done a splendid job for the team so far, and obviously it is the beginning of the season. So we still have a lot of kinks we got to work out and a lot of things we got to practice. And I mean, we've been on the ice now. This is our second week on the ice. So we don't know each other as well as we would like to, and as the season goes on, we expect to get a lot better and everything to mesh and roll a lot smoother. So,
gotcha. Last question before I get you out of here. Then on the wildticks.com, so I'm going through and looking at. You have your favorite food. I consider myself a connoisseur of the kitchen, and I have never heard of this thing. And it says, what is it Chislic?
Chislic.
Okay. It's usually made with venison, which
or lamb.
Lamb. Oh, I do like leg of lamb. That's delicious. But what is the Chislic dish?
So, if you look it up, it's kind of cool because it's one of the only meals that they say that I've found so far that's purely from like a South Dakotan dish.
Okay.
And basically, it's a lot of times if you go to a restaurant, you find it as cubed steak.
Okay.
And everybody cooks it differently, but it's basically cubed steak. And it's sautéed and mixed up with a bunch of different seasonings, and like I said, everybody cooks it differently. Everybody's got a homemade recipe for it.
Okay.
So, but it's really good, and it's kind of like a barbecue sort of idea.
Gotcha.
So,
okay. Well, I'm gonna have to look that up, and I'm gonna have to try it.
It's very good.
So, this is your last year here.
Yep.
You'll age out.
Mm-hmm.
What are your goals and expectations for the season?
I've got high expectations for us, and if we can mold together and if we can push through all the problems that'll pop up, and I think we can make it. I'd like to set records for the team, like as a team. We've only made it to the first round of playoffs. We've never broke through that seal, and I'd like to break that and then push further. And as a team, I hope that we can make it to the Fraser. So, but that is a long ways away, and we got a lot of roads and hardships to go through. So,
do you start paying attention to? I know it seems to me the little bit that I've watched is, I know I said last question 2 questions ago, but when you look at it does get into that first round of the playoffs and your seeding. I mean, I know it's early, but I'm going to assume it's important to be the number 1 seed out of the Frontier and have home division that whole time.
yes.
So is that something you guys, I mean, the points now are important. You stack them now a little bit, especially where we don't know. You guys might have a long run of home games here to start the season if some other places don't get their ice situation figured out, which stand by more to come on that later. But if you guys run off 8 of your first 10 here at home, how important is it that you guys run 20 points here or something at the start?
It is very important because, I mean, the more points the merrier. The more that we have, the less of a chance the other teams that we've beaten have to catch up to us, obviously. And we need those points to get the best possible standing for playoffs. And like you were saying, it's very important to have those home games during playoffs because you get your own crowd, your own atmosphere, and it helps build up motivation to completely dominate the other team.
And I think that's what happened with Great Falls. I'm still convinced if you guys have home field against Great Falls last year, I think you win the series. But it's just it doesn't matter where you are at any level. That home field advantage is
very big. And Great Falls is a great team, and we I'd like to say we outplayed them for a lot of it, but I mean, in general, they ran very similar systems and they did a very good job. And I think they just worked a little harder than we did, I guess, and they pulled through. So, I mean, I'm excited to see how this year's going to go. So.
Awesome. Okay, extra super last question. Thank you for doing this tonight. We're going to try to work through as many of the guys as we can. I know you probably have your finger on the pulse of the team as good as anybody. How many of the guys do you think are going to want to come do this versus how many guys aren't going to want to do it? Are we going to get a good turnout to come down here and visit?
I think you could get a good turnout to come out. I think, everybody's got their own personal agenda and everybody's got things they got to do. I mean, we've got kids taking college courses. Like I myself, I work, and so it comes down to timing, and as the season gets going, we're going to get more and more busy. So, I mean, I think it could be a good turnout.
Awesome.
So.
Cool. Man, thank you for the time.
Yep.
Sweet. Thank you.
Yep.
All right, we are back. We welcome on our second guest. What we're going to work to try to do here is veteran and new guy. I'm not going to use rookie because you have been in the NA3HL. This is your second. You're a sophomore.
Correct.
Not a freshman. You are a sophomore. But Dale Rodriguez joins us. For those of you that were at the game Friday and watched the video earlier, Dale, it was the fist of goodness. You guys, and we'll get to that here in a minute. But first, what drew my attention or was the most impressive for the weekend was I ran into you Saturday morning at the Field of Dreams with your billet family watching third grade football. So this is less than 12 hours after you guys win a game and you win a fight. Why were you at third grade football on Saturday morning?
Well, I don't know. I think that the billets, like, for everyone, but especially me, it just like hits home with me because they're the reason that I can do this. They're the reason I'm here, and I get along with my billet kids so well that every time I see them, they'll run up and give me a hug, or they'll run up and say like, "Hey, how was your day?" or something, and they always invite me like, "Hey, Keegan has a football game, Catalina has a soccer game," and I'm always just like, "You know what? I'll be there. I have nothing going on. I'm not just gonna lay around in bed all day."
But you could have, because I mean, it was. I honestly, and that was my wife and I were both. We were very impressed that you were up and around, especially after a big win. You could have. No, I'm tired. I'm going to stay. My hand hurts. Like you could have stayed in bed, but you were there watching the kids. So that's very cool to see.
Yeah.
Now, when you were their age, and when you first got into hockey, were there older kids you looked up to, and did you watch them and? Is that what kind of cemented that into you, that these kids are watching you and you can kind of set a good example for them?
Oh, for sure. I remember my first year playing hockey, we skated with the varsity team, and I knew growing up my dad played hockey, and he said he was a captain, so he had the C on his jersey, and I saw the biggest kid out there, he had a C on his chest, and I was like, wow, I was like, you're awesome, I'm going to keep watching you. My dad was a captain, I see you're a captain, and I'm still friends with their family today, and so I know that older kids helping younger kids is a big deal.
Now, you said, this goes back to wildticks.com, you started playing hockey when you were 8. So what I didn't do at the start was let Dale, he is from St. Paul, Minnesota. So when I think hockey, that's about as central as you can get south of the border. So that's almost a late start for hockey. Like when you started when you were 8, there were kids that were already playing for 4 or 5 years.
Oh, yeah.
So what made the decision kind of for you there to get into hockey when you were 8 years old?
So it's actually kind of a funny story. My family always kind of gets on me about it, but my dad started to teach. He wanted to teach me how to play since I was 2, and he tried when I was 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I didn't want anything to do with it. I was just like, no, I don't want to do this, whatever. So I gave up 7, 8 years old. My buddies were playing and they were telling me about it, and I like saw some like clips of hockey, and I was just like, I want to play. And my dad was like, well, we got a lot of work to do.
Got some catching up to do.
Yeah, you got a lot. You're a lot of years behind. So yeah, 8 years old, I actually played. I went through every single level of mites in 1 year. So I was mite 1, mite 2, and advanced mite all my first year of hockey.
So when you're somewhere where it's that competitive, like that's how it starts. Is basically you're testing out at every level.
Right.
Okay, gotcha. So then going back to that, it's kind of the same. I'm going to ask all you guys the same question. What is your earliest memory of hockey?
It would probably have to be the very first time I skated at North St. Paul, where I grew up playing. I had like one of my dad's old like yellow like Jofa helmets.
Okay.
And it didn't have a cage, it didn't have a visor or anything. And I was out there skating with a bunch of other kids, you know, younger than me or close to the same age. And they were just like, you know, we understand it's your first time playing, so we'll let it go, but like you're gonna need a cage. You know, these kids are too little. And I don't know, that's just like one thing I remember, and it actually went pretty well.
Were you always on the defensive side, or how does that progression go and the decision be made that you're going to be a defenseman?
No, I actually started playing forward all growing up until I think like Pee-wees.
Okay.
And it was my summer AAA team. My coach, we needed some defensemen, and I've always been pretty tall for my age. So he was like, do you want to try playing defense? And I said, sure. And then that summer I just fell in love with it, and then I ended up switching.
Now here in the youth program here in Gillette, I mean, we're driving all over and even into Montana. Kind of the same you're doing in the frontier, driving all over. When you're in Minnesota, are you going on long road trips and stuff, or are you able to stay in town? I mean, I assume there's a ton of hockey within about 100 miles of where you're at. So what was the youth stuff? Were you on big trips and stuff, or how did that work growing up?
So yeah, like conference play, section play, you know, is always just right in town. Everything's nothing further than like 25 minutes maybe. But every year there was always that one out-of-town tournament. So, you know, we'd go up to Hibbing or Duluth or, you know, somewhere up north usually. So it was usually just once a year.
Were you guys as rowdy? The hockey boys, like I'm the team mom for a girls team, and normally when you call and try to book a hotel room for a hockey team, the first thing they say is absolutely not. And then you're like, no, I'm with the girls. It's a little less, which it's not, but it's a little less noisy. So are there hellraisers? Like, is that just part of the hockey mantra everywhere you go?
Oh, for sure it is. I fully believe that. And we've had coaches tell us, you know, like, you know, hey, North St. Paul gymnastics was here 2 weeks ago, and they left a good name for North St. Paul. So now we're coming in. You guys better keep it that way. So
floor hockey in the halls,
exactly,
like stuff getting torn up.
Exactly.
So it's everywhere. That attitude is everywhere.
You know, knee hockey in the hallway, and throwing wet towels in the pool.
Nice. Okay, so what was your impressions? Friday night was your first game here, first home game, kind of through introductions, through the start of the game. What's your kind of first impressions? First, let's just talk of Spirit Hall itself. We were talking to Nate earlier about kind of where the crowd sets up top and stuff. As someone coming in, especially in Minnesota, I'm sure you've played in front of some big crowds even when you were a Pee-wee. What was your first impressions of Spirit Hall and the Wild fans on Friday night?
No, I actually thought it was pretty nice. You know, I've never played in a rink like that before where everyone sits way up above you, but I still think it is pretty nice. And they have a lot of seating in Spirit Hall for a lot of people, because that was probably pretty close to one of the biggest crowds I've played in. You know, I think, like Nate said, that you hear a lot more because they're above you. You're not fighting through the glass, but there is like that atmosphere, you know, where you can feel everyone staring at you if they're right up against the glass.
Okay.
I do eat that stuff up too. So
nice. So now let's get to the fight. So first question, I assume, I don't know, I've never been in a fight in my life. I never played hockey. Just as an outsider watching, I mean, when you decide that you're going to fight, I mean, there's a chance that you're the one that's going to get hit in the mouth. So does that, like, does that cross your mind, or are you just like, okay, here we go? Because I mean, there's a chance. Everyone's got a puncher's chance in a fight. So does that cross your mind when you decide it's time to go, that there's a chance you might be the one bleeding when it's over?
Well, I don't know. A lot of people were surprised. No, that was actually my first fight ever. But
Oh, okay. Okay.
yeah, it was my first fight ever, and I honestly did not even think about that until like later that night. I was just like, wow, roles definitely could have been switched right there, but I guess I just came out higher.
Is the adrenaline rush from that
Oh yeah.
something that's just wild?
Oh, it was crazy. Yeah. I was talking with some of the guys after, and I was like, I had so much adrenaline going, it was insane.
And that's so, I mean, Kevin Geis, as you guys saw in the clip earlier, he made mention, I mean, we hadn't had a good one of those in like 3 years. And I don't know, I'm not going to say I don't like fighting. I like the concept of it. What I don't like is when there's a byproduct of the fight, and which you guys, both your cages stayed on, but I don't like when a helmet comes off and someone's head hits the ice hard. Like it doesn't matter what, any football, I like car racing, they hit the walls hard. Like I don't like the danger aspect of someone's head hitting hard. But I would say for hockey fights, that was as good and clean and fair of hockey fight as we've had in a long time. And it does kind of suck. I wish we'd have had it, because the guys at work that have been here longer than me say, if you have a good fight Friday, the place is full Saturday. So we were full Friday. Good, we were half full. I would like to see what the crowd would have been Saturday.
Right.
So I'm not saying we have to fight every Friday night, but I'm just saying I don't necessarily know, if it would be, that bad a deal to do.
Right.
So there was one other thing I had on here that I wanted to ask you about. Oh, okay. This is on Wild. So this is not me. This is on there. Are you old enough to drink Celsius?
Yeah.
Is Celsius a booze?
No.
Oh, okay. So I was wrong. I thought Celsius was like a High Noon or something like that.
No.
No. Okay.
It's just
so
like a energy drink.
Gotcha. Okay, so we're good there. I was just wanted to make sure the girls didn't do something wrong when they put that on the internet, that we were going to get somebody in trouble. So, same thing for you. Last question. Coming in, you've got to play with the guys for about a week. You yourself, do you feel like, have you set high expectations for what this team can do?
Oh yeah, I've definitely set high expectations. I've seen all of the talent we have during practice. Obviously this past 2 games, this past weekend. And I definitely think that we could make playoffs, push through that first round like they said they couldn't get through before, because, last year my team I played on only had 6 wins, so we're already a third of the way there in 1 weekend. And I honestly think that we could go a long way and make it to the Fraser.
Okay, super last question, which I had on how to get to. How did you get into Gillette? Like, how did you end up here? What was that process with you ending up down here?
So last year I played in Wisconsin, and during the summer my coaches and I agreed that I wouldn't be going back there. And I was skating at a St. Cloud Norseman camp in Hudson, Wisconsin. And Shaw, actually, who just left, he was there, and he recognized me, and he offered me a contract to come here after seeing me play. So my family and I, did some thinking, did some research, and we were like, I think this is a good place for you to go. And that's why I ended up here.
Gotcha. So when you get here and then you find out Shaw is moving up and going to Alaska, were you already comfortable enough with everything here that you knew you were going to stay, or is there any thought to where, like, I don't know the dynamic of the coach that recruits you leaves and then you're here. Is that something that you, even though that happened, you knew you were going to stay?
Yeah, I knew I was going to stay, because actually the day after I got here was Shaw's going away party.
Okay.
But a couple of weeks before I moved out here, we did a capstone tournament in Edina, Minnesota. So I knew, a few of the guys. I knew Hayes, and I knew that I'd still want to stay here, and I was happy for him that he got moved up, because he's trying to move up just like we are.
So you were one of the ones that Coach Hayes talked about last week. Some of the guys were on ice all summer, and some guys weren't.
Right.
So were you on ice all summer?
Yeah.
You got to play all summer. Okay. So that's, if we're being on, we need year-round ice in Gillette is basically what you're saying. Gotcha. So that, I don't want to put any pressure. I don't know who pays for that, But, I mean, that's something we should seriously, you heard it right here from Dale. We need to think about having year-round ice. So, cool. Man, I appreciate you taking some time. Oh, wait, no, one more thing. Super last thing. Not only were you there Saturday morning, you were in my wife's classroom today, and you were reading to the kids, which your billet family is Lakeview family, right?
Correct.
So, what was that like today, going into the classroom and reading to the kids? Did they have? I know the kids didn't stop talking about it all day. So, did you have as much fun as they did?
Oh, for sure. I had so much fun. I love helping out little kids. I've always been good with kids, and my billet kids are 4th grade and 2nd grade, and we're reading to 3rd graders. So we went to 3 classes, read to them. It was awesome. And I thought that they were kind of just going to be bored and looking off, whatever. But they were actually interested. They're asking us questions. We're making jokes. We took pictures with all the kids. It was really wholesome. So then after we were done reading, I got to stop into the 4th grade class and say hi to Keegan. I got to stop by in the 2nd grade class, hi to Catalina. And I honestly love it here and everything that we're doing, and it's awesome.
Nice. Well, we're happy to have you. So thanks for going to the football game. Thanks for going to the classroom, and thanks for coming out here tonight.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Awesome, man. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, I cannot thank Nate and Dale enough for stepping up to being the first guys to come in and sit down and answer some questions. So I was joking a little bit with Nate. What we're going to do is we're going to open this up, and as we go through the year, we're going to get the young men that want to come in and they want to chat and tell a couple hockey stories or whatnot. That's who we're going to get in here. What we're not going to do is force anybody to come in and that are uncomfortable and don't want to have anything to do with what we're doing here. I don't want to be a part of making. You guys don't want to watch somebody be uncomfortable here on the screen. I don't want to sit in this chair and see somebody be uncomfortable on the screen. That's just not what we're going to do. But as you've seen from Kevin Geis, the little video I tried to voice over in Badlands, which, by the way, that everything the Sabres are doing are top notch. Their arena, their uniforms are awesome. That's good stuff. And I'm not sure what happened with the hockey TV this weekend. There were several teams along the frontier that had issues. But I am telling you, as a volunteer, there's nothing that sucks like being 10 or 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes away from the puck dropping and not being able to get that TV to work. And then you've got everybody and their dog up there, unplug it, plug it in, unplug it, plug it in. Hey, restart this, try to toggle it. It sucks. That's not a good position to be in. I'm absolutely positive hockey TV and the Sabres, they'll get that issue taken care of. So, but let's talk about this weekend. Friday night, 7:05. Saturday night, 7:05, Spirit Hall Ice Arena. We're hosting Yellowstone. Okay, I got all kinds of paperwork here over some statistics. Let's get into the Frontier Division right now. I don't know where it went. Yellowstone's at the top of the division, right with us. They're not with Helena, so Helena is the top team in the division right now. And then I know Gillette's second, and I believe Yellowstone is third. So it is going to be a great hockey game. We're going to need you guys to come out, support your team. What I am going to challenge everybody with is this little guy right here, okay? I want us to win it in all of the NA3HL, okay? But I dang sure want us to win it within the Frontier Division, and that is the attendance numbers. Right now, we are second on average attendance per game. We are in second place to the Badlands Sabres. Badlands had 489 people at their game Saturday night. Gillette had 488 people at our game Friday night. And I know some of those numbers are inflated because a lot of people travel from Gillette to go over there. So, but let's just keep that in mind. We need to be, Coach Hayes talked in the Gillette News Record, which was a great article. Thanks to the News Record for coming out and talking to the guys. But I agree with Ethan. We should have 1,000 people at our hockey games. I want 1,000 people at one of our hockey games. I want to sit down there and play music and scream who scored the goal for 1,000 people at Spirit Hall. I think that would be awesome. Real fast through the weekend, okay? When you look at, we're going to start with the defensemen because defense wins championships. Right now, our defensemen, Brock Trebojevic and Leighton Weisler, are 2 of the top 5 points scorers in the Frontier. No, this isn't Frontier. This is all the NA3HL. Right now we have Trebojevic and Weisler in the top 5 of points scored. Also in the top 20, we have who you talked to earlier, Dale Rodriguez and Nate Fanning. As you saw earlier, also on this list, Easton Apodaca. So when we are sitting down there, which we're going to figure out a way to rig up a camera so you guys can see this. When we are sitting down there in the scoring table, and it is, the goals are being scored, and then you got people handing you plus minuses and everything everywhere. It can be a mess. Sometimes I'm not always able to look up and see the ice and see what's happening because I'm either handing over a sheet, we're talking questions, we're checking time, or sometimes I'm getting ready to read an ad or picking a song. I got to see 2 cool things on Friday night sitting there. First of all, I was able to watch everything transpire and watch Dale's fight, which was awesome. Which I want to talk about something else real fast. So after Dale's fight, something happened in the crowd. And I don't know, I have not watched any video on it, but moving forward with us having a team in Rapid and us having the team obviously in Sheridan, we get visiting teams that come into Gillette. I want to emphasize to the Wild fans, don't start anything, please. Let these people, these fans that come in, be able to watch the games, be able to cheer for their teams, okay? Don't be the person that starts something to make these people uncomfortable when they're here. Much the same as we are going to want done for us when we go to Rapid City or when we go to Sheridan, okay? I can't emphasize that enough. Make sure that the opposing crowd feels welcomed when they come to Spirit Hall. It's okay for them to cheer for their team. It's okay for us to cheer against their team. Just don't be the person that causes trouble and starts something. If we can get 50 or 60 people coming down, like that just adds, that helps us win the attendance thing that we are after, okay? But back to what I was saying. So I was able to watch Dale's fight. The other thing I watched was maybe the prettiest goal that's been scored by the Wild in the last couple of years, and that was Easton Apodaca's goal Friday night. I don't know what happened. I just happened to put my eyes up where I was looking. I looked to the right, and that pass and that tip, it was beautiful. So if nothing else I was able to see that night, that was pretty cool. So you get into our forwards. Where are our forwards ranking right now through the first weekend? In the top 20 of the NA3HL statistics, we have 3 guys up there. We have Will Blake he's in 13th. He scored 4 points this weekend. In 5th, we have Saja Norwegian, and he scored 5 points. And then in 4th, we had Tucker Lean. In 2 games, he scored 6 points, which I know you're thinking, how does a guy score 6 points over 2 games and he's only in 4th place? Well as the Wild did, okay? What did we score? 12 to 2 on the aggregate in the 2 games we did this weekend. We didn't do as well as Helena did when they went down to Sheridan and put a 20 spot on the Hawks. 10-0, 10-0, 2 nights in a row. So when that happens, you're going to have a hard time keeping up with the statistics. That's just the way it goes. Now, for the 2 gentlemen that we started in goal, Jake Orsard and Jack Turek, they are both sitting 3 and 4 right now over, as they put it on the website, the qualified goalies. They are sitting and 3 and 4, each of them goals against average at 1. Butte, Caleb Cross, he is in 2nd with just under .97. I mean, we're going to round up and call it 1. Actually, what it is, there's a 3-way tie for 2nd. And then, of course, Anthony Edelman with Helena. He pitched a shutout 2 nights in a row against the Hawks. So, it's hard to beat the guy that doesn't give up any goals. So when you look, here's where we were earlier. When you look at the Frontier Division and special teams win championships, right, folks? So our power play opportunities, we had 12. We had 4 goals. That puts us at 33.3% for our power play percentage. That is number 1 in the Frontier Division. That's going to be important moving forward. You have to capitalize on other teams' mistakes. What I think is even more important, when we make a mistake and they draw a penalty, Badlands was 0 for 6. So we had 6 times we were shorthanded this weekend. We gave up 0 goals. Our penalty kill percentage, that is at 100%. That obviously is tied for the league nationwide, worldwide, we'll call it, with the NA3HL. So, team statistics. Here we are rolling into this weekend. Gillette, 2-0. We have 4 points. We have 12 goals for us. We have 2 goals against us. That's a differential of 10. We have a 1,000% winning percentage. And we will welcome in the Yellowstone Quake, who in their 2 games are 1-0-1. They took an overtime loss. I believe the overtime loss was on Saturday. But it's going to be a good game Friday night. Yellowstone comes in Friday night. The puck is going to drop at 7:05 on Friday night and 7:05 on Saturday night. So what we need you guys to show up, okay? I can't think of a reason why we can't be the number 1 attendance. Let's win the Frontier for sure. I don't see any reason we can't be the top in the NA3HL. I know Friday night it's homecoming for the Camels. That's where my kids go, Thunder Basin. I apologize. I don't know where you guys are Friday night. But Friday night, if you need to go watch a football game or whatnot, you're excused. That's the only excused absence. If you are not at the game Friday night, I expect to see you there Saturday night. Let's pack that place. So you guys saw some of the things I almost let slip that Coach Taylor had talked about. We have the new video board, the Jumbotron. That's going to get better in the coming weeks. I can't get into that anymore because I signed a non-disclosure on that. So it's just going to keep getting better. We need you guys. We appreciate you guys. We love you guys. Thank you for tuning in. I hope tonight was better, and I hope each night it keeps getting better. Well, it's not. Each week it keeps getting better. Thank you to Underdog Nutrition. Without their help, this wouldn't be possible. Thank you for Big Lost Meadery. Without that, this wouldn't be possible. We'll see you guys this weekend at Spirit Hall Ice Arena. Salute.